My family, hi, I greet you. Welcome to another one here on Truth and Love the Church with your brother Joseph. For the benefit of those who didn't hear what we posted recently, hear what Prophet Angel said about Donald Trump.
Let me tell you something. As a prophet, I support Donald Trump. Supporting Donald Trump doesn't mean say he will support me. Someone said, but Donald Trump is supporting the white people. Look at his true colors. We didn't vote him for white people issues. No, the idea of Donald Trump is a sign of the end. Now, after the rapture has taken place, during what is called the tribulation period, is going to be 7 years. In those 7 years, we call it tribulation period, but it's not a tribulation period. It's only 3.5 years. That means half of it will be tribulation. So for 3.5 years, the Antichrist will bring reforms that will be so enlightening and so exciting for every country, to a point where peace will be in Israel. And look at what Donald Trump has just done now. He said now Gaza is going to belong to America. Now to you, now you're quiet, you go like, it's going to go America. Yeah, that's it. Brilliant. No, it's paving a way for the Antichrist to claim that location so that there can be peace in Israel. Having them in the Gaza Strip has never provided any peace.
So my family, that's very, very alarming. We really need to know what is actually happening. We really need to keep to speed with the happenings, in the world as biblical prophecies keep on being fulfilled, all right? This is in no way suggesting that Trump is the Antichrist or the whatever. No. But some of these decisions that you might be making.
You've said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually, where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East, and you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East.
And there's this thing that I just saw in the news today, the 12th of February, as you can see over there, that there are increased tensions in the Middle East due to this move that Donald Trump is intending to make. And let's say that eventually there's going to be peace in that area, all right? We're talking about post-rapture now. Pastor Chris is going to be revealing to us, the last and final war.
You can use a few seconds to call your friends, your relatives, call those you know, those in your contacts, and tell them it's time.
For just $6, unpack the ultimate Christian streaming experience. Dive into life-changing sermons, gripping and heartwarming shows, epic, soul-stirring movies, and spirit-lifting music. Stay informed with up-to-the-minute news and explore powerful, thought-provoking documentaries and docuseries. Ignite young minds with dynamic and engaging youth and kids programs. Alpha TV has everything you need and more.
And for the African audience, Nigeria and the other African community, it is actually 4,000 Naira or equivalent. Let's just say $2.50. So kindly check it out. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment.
Subscribe now to get started.
So let's get to listen to this, my family. And this information is so important, especially if you happen to miss the rapture. All right. So let's listen. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. God bless you.
Look, after the Antichrist has signed that treaty, a lot in the world would love him because he seemed to have solved the problem that everybody else tried. Peace in the Middle East. So he's said to have finally brought peace to the Middle East. So he's loved by a lot of people. And then he helps them in the building of the temple. He solved the problem. He builds the temple where that mosque used to be. definitely that's going to be trouble. Why? Because the Muslims, they were, according to Ezekiel chapter 38, read chapter 38 and 39, they come into a league with Russia and they spring a surprise attack. Russia and allies invade Israel when Israel is at rest. Now this is very important. This helps you to understand when that invasion is likely to take place, because the Bible says that they would come when Israel is at rest, when Israel is at peace. And the only time they're going to be at peace is after the signing of the treaty with the Antichrist. He will not be called the Antichrist at that time. Everybody thinks he's a wonderful leader. Say, but we know from the Bible that he will be the Antichrist. So he signs that peace treaty, and everybody loves him. Israel loves him. He is the man of peace. But the Bible says, when they shall see peace, go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You see, so Israel is attacked by Russia and the allies. You say, how do you know it's Russia? When you study in Ezekiel 38, you would know. So, and there are other nations. Okay, Iran will be part of that. All right, there are several countries mentioned that will be part of that attack. So, but the Bible says they will be defeated by Israel. This is an interesting thing. They will be defeated because they will not be helped. But God will help them. Other nations will not come to their aid. And Israel will defeat that massive group. Now, here's the interesting thing. Why this is very important is that the Antichrist at this time is not controlling the world. But the European nations will accept him. He's a nice, wonderful political leader. He's solving the Middle East problem. He's solving other problems. So everybody likes him. But Russia resists him. And some other countries. And that's why even though he signed this treaty, Russia blindsides them and attacks Israel. Now this is all prophetic. And now that Russia and the allies are defeated by Israel, according to the Bible, what's left? The Antichrist and his European allies see that the only obstacle to their world domination has been removed. So right away they become the sole world power. So the Antichrist now takes over everything, because the only power to withstand them at that time, in fact, you may say, what about the United States? What happens with them? Interesting, the only places in the Bible that refer to what we might term the United States and some allies, according to the Bible, stand back. And all they say to Russia is, are you going to take a spoil? They stand back. They don't stop Russia. They let them go. It tells us something. So at that time, they get defeated by Israel, God helping them, and the Antichrist, being still known as a man of peace and a friend, even though he guaranteed their security and failed to deliver, there will be trouble. He gets angry because Israel is unhappy. Because of that, something happens. This is now the middle of the 7-year treaty that he signed with Israel. We are now 3.5 years into the 7 years. So he's angry. He's unhappy with Israel. He breaks the treaty here. He breaks it. Let's read Daniel chapter 9 verse 27. And he shall confirm the covenant, that's the treaty, with many for 1 week. So several nations together with him signing that treaty with Israel. And in the midst of the week I told you is the 7 years. In the middle of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. He's angry, and he does something terrible. Now, when he tells us he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease, he's telling us something. As at this time, the temple has already been built, and Israel is back to worshiping God, and that's why God helped them against their adversaries. You see, that's why God helped them against their adversaries. So what happens is, the Antichrist now breaks the treaty and moves his headquarters to Jerusalem. He had been operating from Europe, having 2 offices, one in Europe, one in Jerusalem. Let's look at it. Go to Daniel chapter 11, verse 45. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. Did you see that? Okay. So here's what happens. He moves to Jerusalem and forcibly enters the temple. After all, he helped with the building. Not that he necessarily put the money inside, but he set the circumstances that helped them to build. So now he's angry. He breaks the treaty. And he moves to Jerusalem and goes into the temple. And this is the terrible time. The Bible calls it the time of Jacob's trouble. The time of Jacob's trouble. Terrible what happens from here. Terrible what happens from here. Jesus talked about it. Let's go to Daniel chapter 9 again, verse 27, and observe something. Observe something. It says here, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. Do you understand that term? The abomination that makes desolate. Even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Remember that term. Jesus comes in to tell us something about that. This is terrible. So Matthew's Gospel chapter 24. From verse 15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. What is Jesus telling you? That he's going to come into the temple. He's going to come into the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. I told you there are types, years before, 150 years before, they thought it was Antiochus for Epiphanes. They thought he was the one because he did exactly like this. He moved into the temple and offered sacrifices of pigs on God's altar. And many thought that was the Antichrist. But no, that was before Jesus. Now Jesus tells us this is it.